There are some images in movie history that just stick with you. They're totally unforgettable. And this is one of them. But the story behind the guy who made it, well, it's way more relatable than you might think. Let's get into it. Okay, so even if you've never actually sat down and watched the 1923 movie Safety Last, I'd bet you've seen this picture, right? This guy in a suit and glasses just hanging from the hand of a giant clock, way, way above a busy street. It's the kind of image that gives you instant anxiety. And this one shot, it basically invented a whole new genre of movie, thrill comedy. The idea wasn't just to make you chuckle. It was to make you physically gasp, to make your stomach do a backflip. So who was this guy? Some kind of super daring acrobat? A professional stuntman? Well, to really get why this image is so powerful, we have to get to know the man himself. And here's the fascinating part. His real superpower wasn't his physical strength. It was how much he was just like us. See, he wasn't some larger-than-life character buried under tons of makeup. He was Harold Lloyd. And his whole career, his entire legacy, was built on this kind of revolutionary idea that the most interesting hero is the one who looks just like an ordinary person, the everyman. But, he didn't just stumble into this. Coming up with this regular guy hero was a conscious decision, and honestly, a pretty big risk at the time. Let's rewind a bit and see how he pulled it off. Back in the early days of movies, everybody, and I mean everybody, wanted to be Charlie Chaplin. And Harold Lloyd? He was no exception. His first big character was basically a total ripoff called Lonesome Luke. He had the goofy pants, the funny walk, the fake mustache, the whole shebang. He was just one more Chaplin clone in a sea of them. But then, in 1917, he did something crazy. He just ditched the whole act. He dropped the costume, got rid of the fake mustache, and put on a nice, simple suit and a pair of horn-rimmed glasses. He basically decided to just be himself. He figured out that by trying to be someone else, he was actually stopping the audience from seeing a little bit of themselves up there on the screen. And this new glasses character, man, he was a perfect fit for the Roaring '20s. He was optimistic, ambitious, always striving for more. He wasn't some sad, downtrodden tramp. He was the kid from next door trying to climb the ladder and make something of himself. He was literally the American dream on screen. Okay, so that brings us right back to that clock. The character was someone you could root for sure. But how in the world did he pull off a stunt that insane? Well, the answer is just a brilliant piece of movie magic. The trick, believe it or not, was actually pretty simple, but genius. First, they built a fake building facade, but they built it on the roof of a much shorter building. Then, they positioned the camera just right to create this forced perspective, making it look like he's dangling dozens of stories up. In reality, there was a hidden safety platform just a few feet below him. Now, don't get me wrong, it was still super dangerous, but it was also just a really clever illusion. But wait, camera tricks and safety nets. That's not the whole story, not even close. The real magic, the truly mind-blowing part of this stunt, was a secret that Harold Lloyd kept hidden his entire life. This secret had nothing to do with the set. It had nothing to do with the camera. It was all about the man himself. Okay, get this. 4 years before he filmed Safety Last, he was doing a photo shoot. A prop bomb they were using turned out to be not a prop. It was real. It exploded in his right hand, and he lost his thumb and his index finger. So from that day on, for the rest of his career, he wore this special prosthetic glove to hide the injury. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The regular guy on screen, the relatable kid next door, was doing one of the most dangerous stunts in movie history with only 8 fingers. Every single grip, every pull-up, every time he's desperately hanging on, he's doing it with a partially disabled hand. This wasn't just some character acting resilient. This was the man, Harold Lloyd himself, turning a secret vulnerability into this source of incredible, unbelievable strength. So, you take that relatability and you combine it with that kind of raw nerve, and you get a superstar. We always talk about silent comedy, and we think of 2 names, right? Chaplin and Keaton. But there was a third genius in that mix, and he was the unlikely king of the box office. Yeah, we all remember Chaplin, the beautiful, tragic clown, and Buster Keaton, the great stone face with his surreal stunts. But in the 1920s, the #1 box office draw was Harold Lloyd.
He made more money than both of them because he tapped into something totally different, something thrilling.
They all have their own thing, right? Chaplin gave us pathos. He made you feel for the little tramp. Keaton gave us this mind-bending surrealism. But Lloyd gave us adrenaline. He understood that making an audience gasp was every bit as important as making them laugh. And that, right there, is his real legacy. It's the everyman hero. Seriously, every time you watch a movie and you see a regular guy thrown into some insane situation, think Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, or basically any character Tom Hanks has ever played, you are seeing the DNA of Harold Lloyd's Glasses character. He's the one who proved you don't need a cape or superpowers to be a hero. So in the end, the man on the clock really leaves us with this one big question. He showed the world that being a hero isn't about being perfect or superhuman. It's about finding the courage to just hang on with everything you have, especially when you feel like you're about to fall. Which really makes you wonder, what does it take for any regular person to become a hero?